say I'm in a really tight knit small group where I get like maybe there's 6 operators and we just talk on Messenger and we're in a Messenger group. And, that was super beneficial for me because, it's nice whenever you're just having a bad day and you're like, man, this just happened. And then somebody's like, yeah, me too. And it's like, man, it's nice to know I'm not the only one on this boat, you know? So beneficially, well, I mean, it benefited me more to have a small, tight knit group of people, of operators from different regions and different parts all kind of come together. And just talk, and I think that's kind of what like this community could be, rather than just a big forum for everybody to complain or pick on each other, so I do appreciate that. Um, so, I mean, really, it's just really relatable for like this whole thing, right? Me and you, like, I've seen people do these things, and it's like, I've been to some of the conferences and things, and you got a guy up there who, he's like, oh, I got 30 trucks, and we do it this way, and we do it that way, and it's not a one size fits all, this industry. So, to me, that guy's completely unrelatable. Like, what do we have in common? You have 30 trucks, you have, office staff, you have warehouse managers, and everything else, and here we are trying to answer question or ask questions, operational wise, and he doesn't know. He's like, "Oh, let me get my manager over here and answer the question." So really, it's just being relatable. I think is going to be cool, man. So that's why I was like, man, this will be great. Let's do this and let's talk. Let's talk business. It's fun. Kind of the idea where I was kind of going was, I was looking, obviously I dug through everything that you've done. I went through other TikToks and we're working through some of the videos and things. And, I know you're killer at reviews too. You got great reviews. You got over like 300 5-star reviews. I think I have 500, almost 600 5-star reviews. And I thought it'd be funny just to kind of talk about what we've gone through to keep that status and keep those reviews going, right? Like, obviously we've been late, we've had issues, but it's how we've taken care of those customers to where they're coming back and bringing us money year over year, right? So I hope you got some stories too, right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
definitely. Um, I don't know. I mean, you want to just jump into that? Is there
Yeah,
some
let's jump
things you
into
want
it,
to hit
man.
on?
Talk to
Do
us
you have
about.
anything?
Matter of fact, right off the bat, I want to give everybody value on what do you use to get that many rentals or that many 5 stars.
Okay. Um, I will say in the beginning, when I first started, I jumped on the event hops and I was, doing the high level stuff through them. So you'd have to go and you'd have to upload your list and put it into them. I did that for only about maybe 6 months or so. But then I did take that knowledge and I just started doing it myself personally on my phone. So I just had like a prompt in my phone, and Tuesday at, I think they used to recommend Tuesday at 10 a.m. you send out a review. So at Tuesday at 10 a.m. I would just manually text these people. And I did that all the way up until I just got high level again last year, so, or like maybe September of last year. So everything was, you don't have to pay for any of these services. If you just do it yourself, and you're vigilant about it, you really don't have to pay anybody. But I will say now that I have high level, I have the high level that's built into ERS. So, boy, it blew my mind how much stuff, like how advanced high level came, because I did this maybe when I first started. What's that, 4 years ago, maybe when they were kind of first coming on the. So I did it then, but now, I mean, it's all built in. You get review responses automatically, so you don't even have to type in, your review response. Like, it's a lot easier now, and they're pests, man. They hound the customer, and I've noticed a big uptick in reviews from, I was like, three texts. We're gonna send them 3 texts for a review, and she's like, yeah, let's just try it. And I'm like, okay, but there's been a big uptick in, getting these reviews across, and
Yeah.
I've always done pretty good, but it's definitely better. So I would say high level for sure. You're a high level user too, Jamie, right?
Yeah, I'm go high level. Matter of fact, I started
Yeah.
off with just the email. I modified the email for ERS. They have the back end to where it sends it to their things and they rate you like a couple different things, like 1 out of 5 or something like that. I was like, that's crap. So I went in there and changed the link to my Google Business. And with it being email, it was like I'd get one about every 2 or 3 weeks because people just don't check their emails to where this high level is the key to all of this. It's because it automates the text. And that's 100% the takeaway from this whole call, guys, is if you want reviews, you got to either text your customers religiously, you got to be disciplined, like Jamie was saying, or you've got to sign up with, go high level. That's like, I think, what do we charge? $95 a month, is what we pay.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, the way I did it, if you manually do it and you don't want to pay, I just had an alarm in my phone that would go off every Tuesday, basically. And then I'm like, okay, I got to text everybody, and I take time out and text everybody. Um, but high level's definitely the way to go for sure, I would think.
Yeah.
With that. Uh, um, so what do you got? Got a cool story where you've kind of turned somebody around, or
So
what do you got?
I can speak as a whole to where
Okay.
basically to avoid the 1-star reviews is I have given stuff away or discounted stuff by 50%. And what I love about software like ERS or IO, I don't know if IO does it, but ERS, you can mark the customer bad. And so if they ever going to book with that email or maybe phone number or something like that, it won't let them. It'll tell them they have to call. Now they could override it and figure it out, but there's some customers I just don't want. And some of the ones who will complain that, oh my Lord, the hose was crooked, instead of, they tell us that on Monday. You know what I mean? It's like, so anyway, there's sometimes I don't even fight the battle. I will refund part of the money and just that will happen maybe I would guess once a month with doing about 1,000 rentals a year. So it's very, very small. Um, but I'm trying to avoid that 1-star review. You know what I mean? So I really don't have any
Absolutely.
stories other than I had a previous worker when I
I got all
first
right.
started that quit me, and this was back. I changed the pay. I was paying him per hour, and he was taking 4 hours to clean an inflatable. And I was like, "Yeah, this ain't gonna work. It don't take 4 hours to clean an inflatable." He was like, "Oh, they're really dirty, boss." I was like, "No, no, they're not that dirty." So I went to I'm gonna pay you a flat rate. And so anyway, he ended up quitting and leaving. It was like the second person I ever hired, and he ended up giving me a bad review. And I was just like, whatever, I don't care. I went
Yeah.
on there and just responded to it. And it's buried so far. That's been 9 years ago. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I really haven't had any awful. I really don't get many threats because my philosophy is
Presence
I want to
plant
make it right. What's up, Steve?
Absolutely. I mean, I got a pretty good one that I can remember 2 years ago, and I talked to Milton personally, so he would know this. And Tiffany's in one of the groups I'm in, so she would know. But so basically, I get a phone call one day. I'm at the warehouse, right? And I get a phone call, and the customer says, "Hey, um, we don't have any water to the house." And I go, "What?" And then she's like, "Yeah, your guys hit this pipe, and I think that's why." And I'm like, what is she talking about? I have no idea what this could be. Like we hit a sprinkler. We did, we've done that before. We've done all this kind of stuff, but they're, in Palm Bay, they're all, maybe D.R. Horton houses and basic cookie cutter houses. So they put the wellhead in the front and it's a white pipe. Well, I never had well before besides my sprinkler system. So I had no idea what that was, but I know now. So we stay away from those now. But basically, the driveway along the driveway was slanted, was sloped, and it just rolled off the dolly and kind of just rolled right into this pipe and cracked it a little bit. And the homeowner was there, and we basically just kind of straightened it out or whatever. And he was there. He's like, "This is cool, no problem." And we set up our unit and left. So I called the guys just to see, hey, what happened? What are you talking about with a pipe? Oh, yeah, sorry, boss. The slide rolled off and hit this pipe, but I mean, there was no water coming out. It wasn't spraying or anything. So I'm like, okay, well, I mean, this guy doesn't have any water to his house. So they're like, wow. So anyway, it comes into the situation where I'm like, well, let me see what this pipe is. Like they're just trying to describe it. I have no idea. So I go out there and I see, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's the wellhead. Okay, so we hit the wellhead, we cracked it. Now it doesn't have any suction to pull the water out of the ground. Okay, so I'm like, no problem, man. I'm going to get somebody out here. I try calling my plumber. I try calling emergency service. It's like Sunday at like maybe noon at this point. The party's about to start. Um, and it is just nobody's answering. I got nobody. So eventually, I think I even posted, like, does anybody know a plumber that could get here right away? And um, a friend from high school said, "Hey, try my handyman husband." And I'm like, I am not going down that route. But nobody else picked up. So about an hour of this, I'm like, all right, handyman, it is. Let's see if we could just get the water turned on, right? So I try to call him. He comes out right away. Um, Charged me like 150 bucks or whatever, and we thought we had everything up and running. Just a temporary fix. He put some type of rubber seal around it or whatever, and we just tried to see if that would work, and it did. I get a call. Um, my well is overheating, and it's I had to kill the water because it's just running constantly and it's overheating and everything else. And I'm like, God dang, like I have no idea what's going on with this. So I eventually call. It's Monday. I call a good company out there. I tell the customer, hey, we're going to crush it for you, man. I'm going to get somebody out there. Don't worry about it. Are you going to be home Monday? Well, he's beyond upset at this point. He's like, all I wanted was a bounce house in my backyard. Now I got no water in my house. Well, great conversations throughout. I'm trying to talk him down here. Um, so that was going good until this last part where, you know, we messed it up again. So I get a good company out there. And the guy says, look, I can't take another day off work. I took off Friday. I can't take off Monday as well. I can't afford to take off work. And I'm just trying to think of every solution just to access his house to get in there. And I'm like, bro, listen, I, you know, I'm a respectable guy. I got a good business in town. I live in a nice house. I'm trustworthy. Just trust me on this. Leave me a key under the mat. I'll go out there myself personally and I'll let the guy in. I didn't really want to do that, but I had no options really. So I did it. He left me a key. We got a good company in there and we fixed it all up for him and everything. And that was one guy who, like, it was such a stressful time that I was losing it because I really wanted to help this guy and I couldn't. And it was super stressful. The guy ends up loving me. We do a party every year now. I mean, we do a party every year. We just avoid that side of the house and we talk about it. And we laugh every time. And it was like one of the worst kind of stressful experiences of mine because I was like, this is going to cost me a ton of money. But luckily, it only cost me like 150 bucks, and to one guy, maybe 150 bucks to another guy. So 300 bucks. I basically did the rental for free. I also refunded the customer completely. So I made no money and lost some. But over the years, I mean, that's what I'm looking for anyway. I'm not worried about the 300 bucks when I show up the first time. I want to grow with your family and, constantly be bringing out these things year after year. And I'm looking for, long-term money coming in that I can also give you a good product. So it's mutual. Um, but that was one that was like super stressful that I always think about. I don't know. It was one way the guy, he gave me 5-star review. I mean, and it's like I made no money there. I made no money. I lost money. I had to pay out people, and it ended up working out good for my business and for him as well, I think. So that was one that I just kind of had in here that I was like, yeah, I remember the old well story where we broke something, and normally if it's like a sprinkler system, it's on you. I could go that route. I don't. I usually say, hey, I'll tell you what, I'll give you 40 bucks back. You go to Home Depot, grab the parts. You're gonna, that should cover your time. I don't bring out a company or anything, but I say, hey, I'll give you a little bit of money back so you can go fix that. But this situation was a little more intense, I think. Um,
Yeah, I think that's one of the things like you got to go through every now and
yeah,
then, whether it be like, if you've been in this business long enough, you're going to hit a water pipe, you know what I mean? And it just depends
yeah,
on who you're going to be dealing with. Those are the type of things like if you can just make it right, in my opinion, they might not leave you a 5-star review, but obviously if you ignore them and all that, it could lead to a 1-star. So um, those are the type of things that I think set us apart for long term. And also,
yeah.
I remember the first one that ever happened with me. It was actually a gas line. I was the one back in the day,
Ooh,
10 years ago, that set it up. and didn't even know I hit it, but I set a 16-foot slide up and didn't know it. But the lady called me like 4 or 5 hours later. She's like, Jamie, like, I don't want to be mean, but your slide kind of smells like rotten eggs. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God. Very, very nice house and all that. I'm going to lose a customer. I set it up. I know it was clean. I don't know what she's talking about. But I just instantly was like, it was 30 minutes away. I was like, I'm going to come swap it out with another slide. Didn't know what it was. Didn't know if there was like a dead frog or something that I missed, whatever it could
Yeah.
have been. But I'm heading out that way. And she calls me back and she says, hey, you don't need to come. It's not your slide. I guess when you were driving a stake into the ground, you hit one of the natural glass slides. Now, how it didn't explode and all the horror stories that we hear about, I don't know how that didn't happen, but it didn't. Thank God, I'm still
Thank
here.
God.
But
Yeah.
but literally, we got it figured out, and because I was taking ownership, not because I think sometimes you're like, no, it's not my slide. I set that up. I know it was good. I know it was clean. And by the way I took ownership, she used us for multiple years. Our kids are grown now, but she used us because we handled it the right way. Now I want to share one topic that I have not done yet, and I want to do it. But I think it was Alex Hermosi say, when you go into any business, any company, and you're looking at their 5-star reviews, what is one of the things you look at? If you're like me, I'm going to look at what does the 1-star review say.
Yeah.
Now, I don't
Yep.
have any 1-star reviews. I got a couple 4-star reviews, but it doesn't affect my rating. But I've got enough ratings. I would say if you've got like at least 50 or more, like 55 star, you could do this. But
Yeah.
the idea is to get somebody to kind of like sound like a boomer and almost in a way, and go in there and give a 1-star rating, but on the comment section be like, this was the best company I've ever used. The slide was so clean. It was so phenomenal. And it blew my mind. I was like, that's genius. Now, I haven't taken action, like I said, on it, but it is on my to-do list. I've got to find the right person that I can go in their account, because I want to post this on my social media. I want to go on there and be like, well, guys, we got our first 1-star review today. And then people
Yeah.
are reading it and they're like, oh, that's hilarious. You know what I mean? Like, I really think
Oh,
there's a
yeah.
good marketing thing there.
It's so funny because I know exactly what you're talking about, and I was thinking about doing it, but I was going to post it as myself, and my angle was going to be, hey, why are you looking at the 1-star reviews? You just missed my 500 5-star reviews. I'm going to be a great company. You're not going to find better out there. Please book with me.
That's great too.
Or
Because if I
you
saw
know,
that as a
yeah,
customer, dude, I would crack up because like
yeah,
sarcasm is my
exactly.
second love language. You know what I mean? That's hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's funny you bring that up. Yeah, that's the way I would angle it. Was hey, I would introduce myself maybe and say, hey, you just missed. I don't know. Try to make it funny for sure
Yeah.
and enjoyable. So somebody's like, this is a good company. This is cool.
Hey, let me do this real quick, Jamie. Tony Milton, Tiffany, if you guys got any funny stories or any kind of stories about a 5-star, 1-star review, and if you're comfortable, jump in, tell us, interrupt. I'm recording this. I'm gonna post it back to the group for anybody who couldn't make it. But this is the kind of stuff. Biggest takeaway so far, guys, is don't be afraid of automations. I see some of the OGs who have been in this business for 20, 30 years, or even some people newer, and they're like, I don't want AI responding to my 5-star Google reviews. Guys, don't be afraid of AI. It will answer it better than what you're going to
Yeah.
answer it a lot of times. And
Oh
it's
yeah.
not going to forget. Because if you're like me, I'll get, before I had AI responding to these with high level, it would be 3 months in, I was like, oh my gosh, I got 25 5-star reviews I got to go respond to. Um, and I'm the same way, Jamie. I had about, I don't know, 175 5-star reviews. And last January, a year ago, was exactly a year when I started with Go High Level. And it's taken a year to get, I don't know, about 150 or 180 5-star reviews. And that's, so if you equate that with 1,000 rentals per year, that's about, 10% customers are
Yeah.
leaving a 5-star review for me.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, man.
Well, so I mean, I got another one. I mean, I got another one that was kind of kind of miscommunication on my part here. Maybe not. So this customer wanted a princess combo. Sorry, I'm at my warehouse. A customer wanted a princess bounce house, okay, a combo. And then he called me later on after he already booked it, and he said, "Hey, I'm looking to extend the party. Can I extend this, further out?" Yeah, absolutely. Let me look at the schedule, make sure it's not booked. Oh, sorry, it's booked on Sunday. Um, I'll tell you what, I got this brand new tsunami one. If you wanted to switch it out and do the tsunami one, you could have that for both days. And um, so we show up there, or my guys show up there. I was at the warehouse. They showed up there, and they call me and they say, "Hey, this guy's super mad. He didn't get the one he wanted." And I said, "Well, which one's he looking for?" And he said, "Oh, this is Princess." Then I remembered what was going on. So I'm like, okay. I call him up, said, "Hey, that one's booked on Sunday. I thought you wanted this one for 2 days." And he goes, "No, I'm having a princess party. The party's today. I thought you were going to switch out with the other one for Sunday." So basically, he thought he was going to get two full rentals, basically, me going there twice, whatever. And I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry. It's a miscommunication. I definitely." And then he was starting to get real heated. Well, he caught me on a day where I wasn't feeling too good either. So we kind of got into this like back and forth to where I would never normally do this, but he just caught me on the right day. And we're getting this back and forth. I'm like, "What makes you think I would come out there twice and do two full rentals for, you know, whatever it was, maybe $100 more the second day? That doesn't make any sense at all." And it was his first time booking with these things. I don't know, man. So anyway, it ends up that he wanted the thing on pavers. They didn't have sandbags. They said, "Hey, well, regardless, you got to come down here. We need sandbags for this thing." I'm like, "Damn it, I really don't want to go see this guy. He's probably going to kick my ass in the driveway." So I go out there and I bring the sandbags. We sandbag it all down. It's clean. It's ready to go. And I go over and I just go with my tail between my legs. I'm like, "Hey, man, I'm sorry, dude. I got a lot going on right now. I didn't mean to talk to you like that." And I just genuinely apologized. And I said, "What I'm going to do is I'm going to take, this rent. You're not going to pay for the second day, and I'm going to take half off the first day. And you have a brand new bounce house here. It's ready to go for you. Just have a good time, man." And I don't. And he goes, "I'm really glad you showed up, man." And he shows me his phone. He goes, "I was about to roast you on Google." And it was this big, long 1-star review. And I was like, "Whew, I'm glad you didn't do that." And then, so we were cool. We were cool and everything. He got refunded. He's all good. And then, you know, this is another thing where I don't worry about the couple $100 I refunded him. I did, I was looking at actually his account because I knew I was going to talk about it, and he did. So he paid, I think, almost $200 the first year with the mess up. The next year, I gave him an okay deal. He got it done hospital for like 440 or something like that. So he got a little bit of money off there, I noticed. But then this year, he booked a $600 obstacle with me, a 100-foot obstacle or whatever. So I'm like, this guy just gave me, $1,300 in business, and we had a huge issue where, I mean, it was like I was heated going in. I was coming in hot. I was mad. I was upset. And then I'm like, "Dude, I mean, what do you?" And it's just like some days you get caught on that day and it's just not good, but we sorted it out. And now he calls me all the time. I mean, the guy loves me. And, we got year after year, we get more business from this guy. And, I think the biggest thing is people are so afraid to give back a couple $100 or $100. And it's like, you know, that rental's not going to make or break your company. I mean, even if you have two rentals and you have to refund one or do this, I mean, it's not going to make or break you because next week you're going to have them all out or what, I just never looked at it that way. And I think that, when I was younger, I did restaurants and like you'd have a bad night serving, waiting tables. And then the next night you just made your rent in a night, and it's just, it's that kind of mentality that I have with this. It's like, well, let's take care of the customer. I don't care what it costs. Let's take care of them. Let's make them happy. And then, it'll come back to us, and we'll get it back the following, rentals.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point, dude. You look at it the long term. It's kind of like Google ads. Like the customer acquisition is, let's say it costs you $85 to acquire that customer. Well, you're looking at it from a lifespan. If the kid is
Yeah.
3 year old when they're renting this dinosaur bounce house, hopefully you're going to have another 10 or 15 years of potentially renting inflatables. So you look at it at the lifetime. Now there's some customers, like I said at the beginning, it was like I don't want this person as a customer. They were rude to my driver, and I probably got, I don't know, 20 people on my do not rent to list just because maybe they trashed the inflatable. I had one person
Oh
that
yeah.
went in there and literally it was like they dumped a whole trash can into the pool of this combo. I'm just like why would you do that? You know what I mean? It's just it is what it is,
Yeah.
but you know, but
I got one customer on my bad list who doesn't really deserve to be there in a sense. But she's on the bad list. We showed up. It was I was actually on this crew with these guys, and we showed up there and we set up a bounce house in their backyard. And it was the where it was set up. You could tell they just mowed it, they just cleaned it. It's one of the places that are usually unkept that they fix for the party or whatever. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but when we picked this thing up, it was so covered in water. It did not rain. It didn't rain at all. It didn't, we picked up things flooded and stuff like that, but for some reason where that thing was set up just gains water. Just, I mean, it looked like a drainage ditch of any sort. It looked like a backyard, but it was so deep in water. I just thought I got to put these guys on the bad list. I'm never renting here again. Like they can go to a park, and if she calls me, I'll let her book at a park or something. But yeah, that's the one customer I'm like, you're on the bad list. Sorry, if it ever comes out, but I don't know if they ever booked with me again or not, or tried to online and couldn't. So
yeah, yeah. Great point, man. So Tiffany asked, do you think it's worth the time to send a Google review request to all of your 2024 customers? After 6 months of having high level, I discovered the auto text was not turned on. Ouch, ouch, ouch. I don't think it would hurt. Now, I think you got to be careful with text messages on the whole like not being able to. They've got to opt in to your text message. So be careful on that. I don't want to give you any bad advice on that, Tiffany. Um, but it could be something where if you could get all your emails together and get something that could send them out, you know what I mean. But I've never tried it, so I haven't. I don't got any experience with that. Anybody else? What would you say, Jamie?
I don't think. I mean, I don't know. I don't think you're going to get much of a response back. But if you do want to, I mean, I don't know. You could be reminding somebody who didn't have that great of an experience too. I mean, out of all of those customers, there's got to be one or two that didn't really have the best experience. Maybe something happened, maybe not. I don't know.
Hey, here's something to think about too. Is if you get too many at once, and I don't know what that number is, but I've heard people say if you get too many Google reviews at once, Google can look at it like it's a spam or whatever. So I don't know what that number is. I don't know if it's 10 in an hour. I don't know if it's 50 in an hour, but you might, if you do that, I would maybe send out like 25 of those at a time just to make sure, because out of 25, you might have, you know, 10%, so you might get two or three. You know what I mean?
So is there a difference in sending a text just from my business phone versus sending an email? Like as far as you saying they have to opt in.
Yeah, the opt in is for the texting. It's whatever laws have been. I just went through something today to where I had to like register my business number. I waited a few days. It cut me off from texting from my business line, but you have to register it because of whatever law. I'm ignorant on this, guy, so forgive me, but um, you have to register. If you don't register it, they could be on the no contact list, and I don't know if anybody would do anything, cause any trouble, but I personally wouldn't do it. I wouldn't want to, you know. So, but hey, one other way to get reviews, guys, is if you go above and beyond for any customer, and if you did something like what Jamie was talking about, like I'm going to bring this out to you, and as long as it's a good situation, don't be afraid. I've asked people. Matter of fact, I've gone above and beyond to where I've had people like, "Hey, like, what time are you going to pick it up tomorrow? We wanted to play on it." I was like, you know what? We'll get it Monday morning, knowing full in fact that I was going to get it Monday morning either way.
Yeah,
And what
yeah,
I've said, it was like, if you'll leave me a 5-star review, I won't charge you nothing for it. Or people will ask me like, hey, how much do I owe you for that second day or whatever time period? And I'll be like, hey, you know what? If you'll give me a 5-star review, I won't charge you nothing. And it actually helps me out. We're a big weekend rental company, so we're going to deliver Friday, pick up Monday. And so, we utilize that time anyway. So anyway, that's a fun way I've learned. And usually those, when they say they're going to give you one, they'll give you one. Now I help them out and I'll go and find that Google business link to where the reviews are and I'll go text it to them, but
Yeah.
that's a way to do it too.
I've definitely played around with a little bit of that, as far as like, hey, you do this for me, I'll do this for you. I don't know. I never really get that great of a response out of it, but they're always like, yeah, I'll take care of you. Don't worry, it's 5 stars. Kind of never saw that review ever, and it's like, dang it.
Now I get some of that though, Jamie, and they'll be like, I'm gonna give you a great review. I was like, I appreciate it. And I never hear from them either.
Never get
This is more the negotiator, but like, hey, how much do I owe you for that extra day or whatever? And I'll be like, you know what, you do this for me, and no worries, we'll call it even. So.
Yeah, I will say. So I mean, just I haven't been in a lot of these situations. I know I got a couple stories, but I think back. So I used to be, I did restaurants for a year serving, and then I did management in about a 30-unit restaurant in South Florida, and then like a corporate, with like 400 something locations. So I've managed in those capacities too. So I've been trained kind of the more lax way to do things, and then the corporate way to do things. So like that management background kind of comes in sometimes. And I just remember there was this one time, I had a customer. It was a sports bar, and it was like a 2-for-1 deal all day, every day. But like if you got just one beer or one drink, it was a terrible deal. But if you got the second, it was a great deal. It was a pretty good deal. I think like back then maybe it was a 22-ounce mug or something for like $3.50. You got two of them. No, $3.50 was a good deal. Like $6.50, I think is what it was. $6.50 for one beer, but you get a second one if you want it. So I had a customer who got Guinness, which Guinness is expensive. It was like $11 basically. He only wanted the one beer, so he's like, I just paid $11 for this one beer, man. This is crazy. So I wasn't entertaining it really, and I was like, man, what's fair? What do you think's fair? What do you think's fair for the beer? Oh, what do you think I should pay? Like, what? Yeah, what are you comfortable paying, man? What are you going to be happy with paying? And he's like, well, I mean, I think $6 is fair. Okay, no problem. I'll take care of that for you. So I go to the computer and give it to him, and that was like an easy transaction. And then that guy started coming in all the time, and he wasn't asking for discounts every time. He wanted to win that day, maybe, and I just spun it around on him. I'm like, dude, how can I help you? Like, what do you need to be happy when you leave here? And if we show up late, if nobody's there, it is what it is. But if we show up late and the party's starting to get going or something, I mean, normally we're super good about not being late by any means, because I'm super adamant about that. But if things happen, hey man, how can I make this up to you? What can I do for you? Oh, blah. I got this. I just did a pickup. I got this extra concession in the truck. How about we give you this concession? How about we do this? I remember there was one guy, for some reason, it was just this year. The guy showed up. They pulled the wrong one off the trailer. They set it up. It was the big shark HEC combo, so it's a huge shark. We set that up in the front yard. The next job, we went and it was like a palm tree combo or something. And that guy goes, "Hey man, this is a shark party. This is supposed to be a shark." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? They just set it up." And that customer didn't say anything. And we got all the way here, and they're like, "What do we do? What do we do?" And I say, "What's on the truck, man?" I know they just picked something up. I just don't remember what it was. And there was another combo, but it was curved. I said, "Okay, no problem." I said, "Go set both of them up in his yard right now." Like, what? I'm like, "Yeah, go set both of them up and tell him he's just paying for the one and, smooth it over with him." So I ended up calling him. I said, "Hey, man, are you cool with this? You're going to have, 2 units instead of the one. I'm so sorry they set it up," because I didn't want to go back and, try to change stuff out. I'd be late to both parties. So I'm just trying to think outside the box of how do I make this guy happy? Like, well, you just got 2 units, and he loved it. We showed back up. It was a park, not a house, but we basically put 1 unit on one side of the sidewalk, 1 unit on the other, and the kids were running in the middle, and they were going back and forth. He goes, "This was the best idea." He's like, "I'm getting 2 next year for sure." I don't, you know, I mean, that was just one of those things I just thought about that. I'm like, yeah, I remember we did that this year too, where we screwed something up and we just tried to smooth it over. And I mean, maybe I'm a smooth talker, but it usually works out pretty good, you know?
That right there is the key to being a business owner. Is you got to think on your feet. You got to make
Yeah.
concessions, whatever you got to do to make it right.
Yeah.
Tony has a great idea right here. He's got the little almost. Is that a business card, Tony, or
Yeah, that's a little.
what is that?
Yeah, that's a business card that I can take is at the front and the back. And so when you take those, and I'm gonna get them printed out either through either Staples or something like that or whatever, and then I'm gonna give sorry I'm gonna give those out whenever we go to either do setups or takedowns, whatever. If you can kind of feel those people that are just super excited, super stoked once you get there to set up and things, and or past customers or whatever, and that way you can maybe get a review just right then.
Yeah, that
I've
might be
also
a good idea to drop off also when you pick up. I know
mhm,
sometimes it's hard to coordinate. Sometimes that customer's not there, but
mhm.
maybe you could put it, front door or something like that. You might get a better response on drop off. I don't know. Something you have to feel out. But man, at one time I tried to tell my guys I'll give you $10 for any review. This was before Go High Level. That your customer that you dropped off leaves. They don't even got to mention you. If I get a review that said and it was your customer that you delivered, I'm gonna give you $10. And man, they pushed it for about a week, and then they realized like this isn't as easy as what I thought it was gonna be, and they just kind of dropped. But I never put a business card in their hand to make them think about it. So that might be a good.
That way they can actually write their name that they see, who delivered, who the delivery crew was, so forth, things like that, and so
Man, yeah,
it's something I saw in another group or whatever, and I actually last year I bought these little kind of like the little tap cards that when they go to tap, you could just go right to their phone, tap the card on it, it would take them right to the Google. Got quite a reviews that, but like you said, my guys kind of at first they were real gung ho about it, but then it kind of they kind of dropped off from really trying to go after it, so to speak. But those actually worked real good for a while.
yeah.
So
I
you can
like
order
that
those
card
and
too because you're making your driver think like they're putting their name on this card.
mhm.
Like, there's something personal about that. So, psychologically, they're probably going to be like, I'm going to go above and beyond. I got to put my name on that card. There's something psychological about that. So I like that idea.
Yeah. And even if they weren't so happy with the unit, which they should be, but if something happened, but they really like the delivery guy, maybe they're gonna, bump that up a little bit. I like that idea
Yeah.
too. I mean,
Yeah.
I had the ones like Tony was talking about where you go to their phone. I had them in both trucks, but they never moved. I mean, those guys, I was preaching to them, hey man, do this, do this, do this, and those cards never came out of the truck.
Mhm.
Um, but these ones where you can kind of hand them out and you can kind of keep track of like how many I got in this truck and how many has to go each weekend has to go out, and I like that idea.
Yeah. I love the QR code. Jamie, we should have done this first, but I didn't want to get too far off track. But I want you to talk about, I'm going to put you on the spot. But, the school group's all about SEO and marketing.
Mm.
How did you get to be, if you're not the top in your area, you're one of the top with, of course, we know how you did the reviews, but tell us about your journey with your SEO in your website in particular.
So the biggest thing for my website, I did go through Dave Barnes and build something pretty nice because ERS has such a horrible template when you start with them. That's one thing to me that a lot of people don't understand is they just throw something online and it's like we don't have a storefront to look pretty. We don't have how are people going to track your business when they just see you online and you have a terrible website? They're just going to move on. So for me, that was the first thing I had to do was build out a nice looking site. And then, it's just time of like some of the things that you talk about, meta tags, going in there, product after product, or every time there's a new product, meta tags, going through great product descriptions. I'm really big on the descriptions of them. I'm going through now and updating some of them and moving around product descriptions. I feel like that stuff matters, and especially that Google's now looking more content based. I think that stuff matters. So you're constantly adding to your website, reviewing it. Um, And for me, the big thing that I really think sells is pictures. A lot of people just put the generic picture on their website, and these customers come to your website and they have no idea what some of these things are. They've seen it at a birthday party. Their kid wants one for their birthday, but they don't know how you get in this thing. They don't know where the slide is. They don't know if there's a ladder that you have to climb up. Um, and to me, I think the pictures of posting inside and out what this thing is, I post on the pictures as much as I can. The rules, just to show that there's safety involved. There is rules that kind of come out. I want in all the pictures. So when you're scrolling through these things, you sit and you can look through. You can see there's reasons for, you know, this company cares about the safety of your kids. They're going to highlight that in the description. They're going to highlight that on the rules as far as the picture of the rules. They're going to, and just seeing inside and out what this thing is, I think is key for customer conversions, stuff like that. I will say I did hire a company to do some SEO work before. I've done a couple companies just because um, I kind of didn't have time. I didn't have time to go in there and update some things. But I kind of revisit SEO. I feel like like we do the incognito tab. You see where you rank. You can actually see where you stand. Stuff like that. We are towards the top always. Organically, we're usually number one. Plus, obviously, Google Ads and things like that. We have a pretty big budget in Google Ads, so we're always at the top. We're going to show up organically. We're always going to be on the first page. We're always going to be, um, on a billboard when these guys are driving. We're gonna, we're around all the time. But as far as the SEO, I mean, I've done different things to where it's just me just taking my time and doing it because, like I said, all these services are great, and if you don't have the time, pay somebody to do it. They're going to do it right. They're going to do it for you. But sometimes, like with SEO, you really don't know what you're getting. Like, and if you're not involved in, like I learned as I go. I mean, like, and when I first started the business, I just started with a GoDaddy website. I didn't get a booking software, and I just started making money first. Because I wasn't making any money, so I needed to go make money first so I could pay for these things. And GoDaddy ranked great for me. I was still like on the first page of GoDaddy. Like this was a lot less competition then, things like that. But now it's for me, it's like, okay, I just constantly have to update content. I need to stay relevant. And the biggest thing that keeps me relevant, I think, and converts customers would be the reviews and having that great reputation in the county. But as far as like maybe something I'm really diving into, I mean, it's just constantly putting my time in and adding to. I wouldn't say I'm building out landing pages. I'm not saying I'm doing a bunch of different things. Um, I have before, but now we rank pretty well. So I don't
Yeah.
spend as much time on that. I try to update, there's certain things like I see your videos and you're like, oh, when's the last time we posted on Google or Google Business Profile? And I'm like, man, I haven't updated that since I got those 2 new slides, like in September or something. So I went in there, I started doing that more, just staying relevant and just keeping up with it. You know, um, what do you think? What do you got? What do you got for me here?
I love it,
Well, how
man.
can I
No,
get?
I'm
How can I
actually
improve?
showing while you're talking here where you're ranking, and all that. So obviously you're up at the top of the map pack. And I want you guys to know this. If you don't know this, like it doesn't matter. Like let me click on more places real quick here. Okay, obviously Jamie's got 586 5-star, phenomenal. 262.90. But look at this, guys. It doesn't matter. Google doesn't just base this if you have more reviews. I see bad advice on TikTok all the time of like, you want to be ahead of those people? Get more reviews. Like, it's not just all about that. If it was just about that, then that person right there would have more. You know what I mean? My client right here, Coastal Inflatables. Well, they've got 50, he's got 92. This is going to be based on your location, proximity. Some of this you just can't do anything about. You're at the mercy of Google. Now, with that said, when you jump below the map pack and this right here, all of this real estate you can fight for. So, and here's the thing too, guys, is one time I'll search this exact phrase, and if I come in tomorrow, Jamie might be up here. You know what I mean? So this is going to change a little bit, okay? So this is based off of your SEO, but it's also based off of your how relative you are in the market. So I've seen people with just a Facebook page, but they're very, very well known. They'll rank up here like they got their own website because people are clicking on it. So that's the importance. But like Coastal, their number was at 6 for Bounce House Rentals Melbourne. Um, we've done specific landing pages just for that. And so, that was in April. They were at number 52 in the search and incognito mode. And so, with the work that I teach and all this is we've taken them to number 6. And some of this right here is this is what I try to tell everybody with SEO is there's going to come a point to where I believe personally, I don't think you should have to pay $1,000 a month in perpetuity for SEO because it's going to come to the point to where you need to do some of the work and get quality backlinks. It's where you can go and just update your website. But initially to get you up there, it is a big chunk of time. It's a big chunk of knowledge, a big chunk of money if you pay somebody. So anyway, Jamie's, 100% killing it down there.
I will say, I think I do, as far as organically, I always rank better with water slides. I don't know if it's in my name, it's all over the place, but water slides generally do a little bit better than Bounce House. But Bounce House, we're still usually at the top, but it's just.
And the good thing about that, Jamie, is to that point, you got water slides in your name. So
Yeah.
that could be a huge factor. Well, look at that right there. You're number 1 to where Bounce House is. You know what I mean? So I see some people that will, their H1 title tag on every single page of their website is Bounce House Rentals. Mix it up. When you do another landing page, put, Dallas, Texas water slide rentals if you did a bunch of Bounce House rental ones. So definitely mix them up, But yeah, that plays a factor too.
Yeah. There's that one guy we were talking about here. He's one of our competitors, and he hasn't updated his site in probably 10 years, and he still ranks well. He still ranks well on there. And I think Google, you're just going to have that too. You're going to
Yeah.
have the guy who doesn't have the best website, doesn't have the best pictures, doesn't update content, and he still ranks because he's been there for 10, 15 years. I mean, I
I
think
want to
that has a
show
lot
you
to do
guys
with it.
this. All right. So I bought a competitor out a little over 2 years ago. And so, of course, this is me right up there. But the competitor, you see who's beating me there? Well, that's my business too. I own that real estate. Jumpin' Jays is who I bought out about 2 years ago. And then, of course, Bounce Out. But guys, look at this. Look, the first 4 spots are just my business. And what I do is I do shared inventory between the folders. And this is something like we're going to get really into the deep end. But this is an option if you're ever looking to up your marketing game, create a second company. Now you're going to have to put time and money into it. You're going to, like I paid that ERS bill. I think they charged me $99 for that extra site. So it's going to cost money. But I look at that as marketing because, guys, like even though it's not showing up in the map pack, it's showing up on the organic. Of course, my ads are pulling up too. But look, in there, it's not showing up in the top 3, but it's showing up number 4. So if you could take real estate up in the map pack, I need to do a course on this, guys. I need to teach
Yeah.
this right here. But it's all about real estate on Google, and so this
And I
needs to
think
be like the master class,
I don't know if IO might do it too. I'm not sure, but ERS makes it really easy to share folders and share inventory. So that's really good too. Um, but do you run ads on both of them as well?
No, that's a great question. And the reason I don't is I look at that like I'm only competing against myself. So I only run ads on my main spring forward. But Jumpin' Jays has been around for over 15 years. It was purchased after about 5 years from the person who I bought it from. So the person who I bought it from owned it for about 11 years. And military guy had some had some health issues, and he couldn't just go jump in a truck and deliver bounce house because of the wear and tear from the military. So, man, just phenomenal guy, phenomenal name in the business. And matter of fact, he still works with us, and we it's his mechanical train on my website and his dunk tanks. I don't want to be in either one of those spaces, but it makes my business look bigger. So when somebody books the rock wall, they're going to book hopefully the train with it too. So we kind of both benefit,
Nice.
by sharing stuff, So, but no, that's something I need to do a course on that about. And if you started a new website today and you did all the SEO work, it'd be something that could really be paying off 9 months, maybe 6 months to a year later. So it's a long-term investment, but it's definitely something that if anybody made it this far in the video on the rewatch, this could be worth it all right there, from the 5-star gold to this right here.
So what are your thoughts on if, like, I don't have a lot of competition where I'm at, but the competition I have is really great at all things SEO, IO, website design.
Aren't you in Springfield, Missouri?
Yeah, Springfield, Missouri. So if there's not a lot of competition and you're never really going to win in the SEO game, do you think it's worth doing Google Ads?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because SEO is your long-term marathon sprint. Google Ads is your instant, your instant win those customers. Now, Google Ads is you're going to pay for that. Hopefully you've got somewhere $30, $40, $50 per customer acquisition once you get your ads cooking and worked and all that. But SEO is your long-term play. So like right now I see Jumpin' Jacks. What's your business name, Tiffany?
Business Events. Back up. We're number one in the Yacht Monkey business.
Oh, you're killing it on SEO then. If you're coming up for that in Springfield, Missouri, that's a big old town.
Well, I know,
and you're
but there's
right
only
there.
really, Jumping Jacks and our business are really the only bigger companies.
Yeah.
And my thing is like, no matter how much I spend on Google Ads, I think he's always going to spend more and always just be better at it. I felt like I spent a lot of money on Google Ads with a marketing company last year, and we still lost 15% in sales. And so I don't know. I'm just not fully convinced that Google Ads is going to move the needle.
Yeah, Google Ads is a beast. It's something that the more competitive your market, the more you're going to pay for customer acquisition. Now, this is my theory on Google Ads. If you have, like Atlanta, and you have 30 different businesses paying Google Ads, and you've got, let's say, 3,000 leads coming in per month, you know what I mean? They're going to look at that and they're going to say, I got 30 businesses, and let's just say they're paying $100 a month for easy math. I got $3,000 coming from these businesses, and I've got 3,000 leads. Well, obviously that $3,000, is going to be a lot more with 30 businesses. But I say all that to say, hopefully I explained that right. In my market, I've only got 5 people doing Google Ads. So when you get into a market like that, my customer acquisition is going to be less. So if I'm paying about $33 for a customer acquisition, if you're in Atlanta, you might be paying $100 or $200. It might be something crazy, So Google knows this. Like, I work with a roofer, and because that's such a high ticket item, $10, $15, $20,000 for a new roof, they charge these roofers over $50 just for a phone call if you do the Google guaranteed. It blows my mind. But they know.
Is there a way to go back?
You know what I mean?
Is there a way for me to go back and see like how much I spent versus how much can be directly related to someone clicking on the Google ad?
Absolutely. So you should have a report through your Google Ads account that'll show you like, hey, I won, this many conversions. But also look at your clicks. Like, from typically what I'm seeing, great click rate is around $1 per click, $1.25 per click, for our industry. And so, customer acquisition is, of course, that 30, 40, $50, somewhere in there. It just depends on the time of the year. But yeah, what I would do now, one thing, if you're hiring a marketing agency and they're charging you $500 a month, you got to incorporate that into, if you're spending $500 a month on Google Ads, you're spending $1,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I mean? Like that's where you have to, you got to tie it all in together, you know?
Part of me
Right.
sometimes feels like if you have a halfway decent campaign and you're kind of update it here and there, and I mean, Google wants it to be user friendly for everybody. So if you have a halfway decent like these guys aren't doing anything different than what you'll probably do on your campaign if you kind of know it and you watch your videos even, or, you know, and you just take that extra 500 and throw that a little more in the budget rather than paying these other guys. I mean, I think it'll pay off.
Yeah,
I
guys,
mean,
if you could
it's just,
take the time to learn Google Ads is something when you have it set up. Now you got to track it for especially the first couple of months to make sure that Google will get funny and they'll throw in there some bad keywords. But the main keywords you want to go after are like bounce house rental, water slide rental, inflatable rental, obstacle course, and pretty much delete everything else because I don't want to do like kids' birthday party attraction. I don't want to go after those. I want to go out with a sniper rifle to make the most benefit out of these searches. So Google Ads is when you get it, you're not getting the same customer every time. It's different from Facebook ads. Facebook ads is you're trying to make your customer aware that you exist. You're trying to put in their head of like, okay, little Jimmy's birthday party is in 2 months, and I see this Facebook ad. Let me go on their website. You're creating brand recognition on Facebook ads to where Google ads is somebody's actively searching for you. So Google ads, I say all that to say, you don't really have to, when you get Google ads cooking, after a couple months, you can really leave it alone and just monitor it because different people are going to see those Google ads every single time. To where Facebook, somebody might see that ad, like the average count for marketing is somebody has to see an ad 7 times before they take action. So does that make sense?
It doesn't make sense in my mind if I'm already setting at the number 1 spot in the organic search of why I should pay for an ad. Like,
That's a
why
great
spend the
point right
extra
there.
money?
I have thought about that also. Matter of fact, I have tried. I'm number 1 in my area. So my town is about 50,000 people. So why should I pay for Google ads in my town? If somebody Googles me or they Google Bounce, I'm coming up number 1. But, and I've tried just advertising in my other areas because when you get proximity wise, I go in a 45-minute radius and I got some big towns. I really hit those towns a lot harder. But I'm also going to have some competitors coming into my area. So what I would do if you're trying to make the most out of the bang for your buck is really get in there to Google Ads and in your area where you're designating, like I want to go to this part of town and I'm not showing up here, you know, do the incognito search, then go in there and be like, okay, I want to target this area because if I can make a route that's going 30 miles north or south, whatever direction, then it would make sense. So let me target my Google ad spend because I'm not showing up organically.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's just we're kind of in a weird spot in that Springfield, Missouri is around 200,000, 200,000, 250. And then all of the suburbs, are just connecting within 10 miles. But then outside of that, there's nowhere to go. Like, we're kind of an island, I mean, even Branson, Missouri is like 35, 40 minutes. And I turn down business going that far all the time just because I don't want to tie up a truck. We'll do like a 3-hour rental. I don't want to tie up a truck driving 45 minutes somewhere, and then have to come back. And so I don't know. I mean, it's a little bit being spoiled that everything is so close, that I am just not willing to drive an hour.
Yeah.
If it's a $300 bounce house. But that also might change. I'm trying to decide if I want to pivot into overnight rentals. We always just pick up the same day. So that might change, with leaving something overnight. I might be able to expand my area down into Branson.
I have got some areas further away that I do not want to go to, but I don't want to take it off my map because I might get like a rock wall and a multiple unit rental to makes it worth going out there. But I charge $150. And so when people call up occasionally, and I rank over in these areas, but when they call, our people will tell them, it's like, hey, listen, we can go to your area, but we're in Tifton. So we're 50 miles away from you. So we charge an extra $150. And I'm probably too low on that. But that way, if we're going to go over there for a $300 combo rental, it's going to be at least, we're going to compensate some of our time. And then hopefully we get some of the towns along the way to make that route a little bit better. But like I said, we do weekend rentals.
Yeah.
So it's delivering Friday, picking up Monday, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be my next big move. I'm kind of a baby about my equipment, and I just feel like leaving something for 2 or 3 days, I have pictures that it's going to be a muddy mess, but I need to just go for it and see what happens.
I think my biggest clamp with changing up, like, cause I do same day as well as overnight, with no additional charges or whatever. But my biggest thing is normally when I'm hiring, like the guys, I usually hire weekend guys, so they're not available Friday and Monday, and I thought about switching to something like that. I was wondering if it was going to grow my business. It's a big risk. It's just the way I've always done it. And it's been somewhat successful, but if we switch up a bit, that's a big move to change up your whole entire pricing structure for previous customers, things like that. Do they like it? Do they not? Like, me and Tiffany had conversations like, I don't know, and I don't know, like
Well, in
we had,
my main competition, he does weekend rentals. And so if you go to his website and look at price points, he's in the 400 plus $450 for a combo, and I think it's probably drop off Friday, pick up Monday. But I don't know. I mean, myself, we're probably very much middle class with 4 kids. Like, I'm not going to pay. I just think there's a whole customer base that might pay $295 for a rental, but not pay close to $500, um, for the same product. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Back
mean,
in the day,
he's definitely, I would say, more successful at this point, with what he's doing, but he's also doing a lot of other casino night, rock wall, mechanical bowl that I've just not wanted to expand into those areas.
yeah. Guys, one thing I've learned from buying the second business and growing from 60 to over 100 was it's okay to just like be at a certain number and just be like, I'm going to kill it right here. Like, part of this was my ego. I wanted to be the biggest. And now that I've done it, I was already the biggest. Now it was just kind of like, because I'm in a very rural area. I'm in South Georgia. But like, once I did it and then I checked my ego, I was kind of like, I took on debt to buy this company. And I sleep differently at night knowing I have debt, even though it's been a good thing, even though we've made money at it. It's like, I've learned the older I'm 44 years old, so I'm like, I'm part of this is I'm just checking my own ego. Like, what do I want out of life? Because I'm not in a super dense area like you guys. Like, you guys got a great population to where, like, or a major city like Atlanta or Dallas. It was like, I probably wouldn't do weekend rentals. But with where I'm at, it's very country, it's very slow living. I love it. I grew up in St. Louis. I'm like, nah, I want to be in the South. I want to be in the quiet living. But it was like the weekend rentals, everybody does weekend rentals. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, don't be afraid to like, you don't always have to be growing. Now, I believe like what you said, Tiffany, like, hey, I was down 15% last year. I believe you got to check that a little bit because if you're not a lease maintainer or whatever, you need to keep your eye. I could kind of sense that concern because I've had the same concern about my own business. But it's also the thing was like, if I could give anybody any advice on this is like, don't let it just be the ego of like trust your gut. If you want to go do it, I wanted to do it. If I wouldn't have done it, I would have been like disappointed in myself. But looking back on it, I was like, I was doing pretty good with 60 units.
Well, I think the difference too, I mean, and I don't know, like as the only woman in the room. The difference too is like my husband has his own small business and he very much works in our bounce house business when we're short. And so it's also trying to balance just what it takes to run our business of, without, because we're seasonal, that's the other kind of wrench in our business plan. Because we only operate 8 months out of the year, we don't have staff rolling over, year after year. We're hiring new people every March. And so, yeah, I mean, I think at a certain point, if you take, say, our competition, who this is their livelihood, and the man is running the company and he's all in, versus me having to pull my husband away from his full-time business to come work in ours for free, I think, makes a difference too, as far as where we need to look at as growth of like, to grow our company much bigger really requires trying to find a full-time person that you possibly keep 4 months out of the year when there's not anything happening. I mean, like I've done 2 rentals in January, and so just trying to figure out that part with it being seasonal has been tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey guys, I really enjoyed just talking to business too. I appreciate Jamie, talk about 5 stars, sharing all that. But I think next week I want to give a little bit of a topic. I'll figure out what that's going to be, and then like I kind of like just talking like we're talking, like, hey, I'm dealing with this. You know what I mean? And maybe kind of circle back around to this guy. So anyway, appreciate you guys being on here. Appreciate you guys' time, and help me out in the school community. Some of you guys are already doing it, but if you guys see anybody asking a question, I'm gonna get in there and ask questions, like give advice. Like, appreciate you guys doing it very much. Okay. So, well, hey, until next week, Wednesday, 2:30 to 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you then. Okay.
All right,
Hey,
thank
thanks,
you.
man. Thank you,
Okay,
Jamie.
see
Thank
y'all.
you.